Hey everybody, welcome back. As promised, it is the second ADV set from CI7 that was played yesterday, Friday, that I was not able to catch live. So here we are on Saturday afternoon, busting out this narration, soon to be on YouTube. In fact, it'll be on YouTube by the time you're seeing this. Funny how that works. It is between Garay Oak and Fruhdazi. It is another lower bracket match here in round 4. And that means, of course, as with any lower bracket match, that the loser will be eliminated. Both these guys having decent runs. Garay Oak took out Johnny G2 in the opening round, which is not what most people predicted would happen. And then Fruhdazi got a weird win, to say the least, over M-Dragon. M-Dragon bringing out the 6 choice band team, certainly one of the more memorable matches, perhaps infamous a better word, but memorable for better or worse in CI history. And then Fruhdazi, who many of you thought was heavily favored to beat Sadly Seus in round 2, did not manage to do so. Got knocked down to the lower bracket. As you saw, he won his last match, and now here we are. One of these guys ended the trail with a 2-2 record, which is perfectly respectable. One of them 3-1, which is even better, and lives to fight another day. Here is the match between Garay and Fruhdazi, who, as you know, is Shitrock Enjoyer. He's on the top. Lead Suicune, lead Salamence. Certainly, if you're Mence here, you've got to respect Ice Beam. Which is interesting because he actually goes to an Ice Weak Poke, but Celebi would take it a hell of a lot better than Salamence would. And we are immediately getting into a CM pissing contest here. And it does have Ice Beam, so good thing he switched initially. 1 CM each. Giga Drain, PP a factor, by the way, only has 8, and then Kun has pressure, so it really only has 4 as far as this matchup is concerned. And Ice Beam, an awkward damage roll there, 43, leaving him at 44. Giga Drain, if it connects, which is what he's going to do here, is going to certainly put him out of range to where a non-crit couldn't get him. And Garay knows it is the world's most obvious Giga Drain turn, so he switches to a Grass Resist in the Salamence. That hidden power is going to be flying. If it were grass, which is no reason to click there anyway, but if it were grass, it would do quite a bit less to the meta there. So some kind of physical Mence, perhaps DD, and Psychic coming down is a nice neutral move to hit just about anything with the stab behind it. It ends up hitting the Suicune. Psychic this time, that much less because of CM, only 20%. And in a sandless game at the moment, the minimal damage really matters. He even gets a substitute off, so bold prediction for Garay, knowing that the meta wouldn't stay in there, because if it had, that play is not all that good. Giga Drain fails to pop the sub, and Ice Beam now, when he's got a Calm Mind and Celebi doesn't, whole different ball game. 62% from that. Giga Drain there, crit does not matter, but I believe he is now out of Giga Drains. He's also out of HP. Ice Beam takes him down, and Garay with the first KO. Mence comes in trying to get some revenge. Should be able to do that without too much of an issue. Meta comes in thinking HP Flying is going to be the attack. And again, we can tell by the damage roll that that is indeed HP Flying, not HP Grass. So, they both have a physical Mence, and it makes me wonder if either of them, or both, has a Magneton. That's not a Magneton. That is the People's Champ. Haven't seen too much of that guy this CI, but it's cool to see him here. And good prediction for Fruhdazi getting Rock Slide off, knowing that the Mence was going to come in. However, without a crit, it was all for naught, and the Wish is going to negate that damage. Earthquake there is an over prediction, swing and a miss on the Mence. And now Blissey appears. Fruhdazi gets this turn correct as well with a Brick Break, so 3 or 4 turns there in a row. Fruhdazi the one with the right predictions. Soft Boiled coming down for Bliss as the champ reappears. Doll gets shown for the first time, and this time he does not make the right prediction. Rock Slide there, it misses, but had it not missed, it would not have done much to the Claydol there. And of course, after the Rock Slide turn, Garay knows that's the perfect time to get the Salamence in because he's never going to Rock Slide again. So that was a good play for Garay, but there's a lot of switching here in what is a sandless and spikeless game, which generally can mean that it might take a little bit, but maybe it doesn't. T-Wave there definitely matters on meta. That's certainly a good turn for Garay. And yeah, wow, he so dislikes the explosion, or the T-Wave rather, that he just clicks boom there. And Garay takes it like a champ. His own meta, which is going to be pretty bulky, takes only 50%. That's a pretty weak explosion. Is it a... We actually haven't seen anything, but I wonder if it is a bulky protect meta for Garay. Very well might be impish and bulky based on how well it took that boom. Salamence comes in and negates the attack part of Curse. Oh, interesting. Hydro Pump on a Curse set, not usually the case. Curse is usually Curse, EQ, Ice Beam, and then one of Protect or Rest. Hydro Pump not normally there. And Hariyama here, I don't know if now's the time to be clicking knockoff. Gonna get popped by either Earthquake at +1 or Hydro Pump. Brick Break. Man, Hari did not do much of anything. I am a Hariyama fan in general, but man, did it not look very good in this game. It got a knockoff off and did not do much of anything else before biting the dust. So Garay with the lead here, despite his unimpressive Hariyama, but he seems to really be struggling to deal with this basic Curse Mence, which doesn't even, I said Mence, I meant Pert, but it doesn't even have its attack boost anymore. It is 2x defense boosted, but the Intimidates have gotten rid of the attack portion. But it seems to really be giving him a hard time regardless, and out of the way he goes back to the champ. Good thing Garay didn't T-Wave there and triggered Machamp's Guts, make it hit that much harder. Salamence comes in, hoping it's not Rock Slide. It's Rock Slide. 48%, and this time, unlike before, it does not have a Wish floating, and it's very much in danger of dying if it comes into a Rock Slide again in the future. However, the Swampert, even though it did do its work and did provide great value for Fruhdazi, does have to fodder itself here, and that's a regained lead for Garay as Fruhdazi begins to DD up. Oh, just kidding. Well, Raikou makes a very brief cameo here, but it gets instantly blown on before it could do a damn thing. And that's going to obviously, when you trade 1 for 1, leave us in the same position as before with Garay up a poke. 3-2. Machamp, not about to live that HP flying. Down that goes, and it is Salamence versus the world for Fruhdazi. But DD Mence actually has a shot here. It actually just needs 1 crit or 1 flinch, and I think he's in business. Second DD, I don't know about all that. Don't you always just eat T-Wave? Isn't that bad? Ooh. Okay, just kidding. The plot thickens. He's got Refresh. That was probably not what Garay was anticipating. However, we have a bit of a problem here. And that right there is the problem. As cool as the Refresh is, the fact that he has Refresh means, as we can see by this full set, we have the full set on screen. That is confirmation for Garay, the second he shows Refresh, that he in fact does not have Earthquake, meaning he can never kill the meta there without a critical hit. He fishes for it, of course. That's the only play, but it doesn't come, and that enables Garay to tank the hit, click boom, and send us to a Game 2 with Garay in the lead, putting Fruhdazi, who many of you thought would make a deep run in this tour, who many of you thought was among the favorites, putting him 1 game from elimination here in round 4. We'll go to Game 2, but before we start, you already know what I'm going to say. Let's talk briefly about donations. This tour is funded entirely by donations. It relies on your generosity to be what it is. You guys have been very generous so far. You've donated over $2,200, which is a lot of money. We really want to hit $2,600 because that would make it the highest paying CI ever, and that would be a really good note for me to retire on. Like I said, my secret stretch goal is 3K, but perhaps just getting to 26 is a more attainable goal. We are less than $400 from getting there, and you guys have made that happen. Can we go the full way? I'm sure hoping. If you want to donate, if you have the means financially, and it doesn't have to be a huge amount. Some people have donated, $100, $200. We've even gotten $300 a time or two. It doesn't need to be a huge amount like that. Donating $5, $10, legit, $5, price of a coffee. It super duper adds up, and it's super duper appreciated. If you've got it, send it our way. The way that you do that is via PayPal donation link. You can find it in my Discord server. Like I said, PayPal, not some sketchy third-party site, a trusted, secure site. Not going to be any problems. It is totally confidential and secure. I'm not going to ever share anybody's information. If you want credit, you get it. If you want to stay anonymous, you can do that too. And it helps the tour a lot. PayPal takes a really small chunk. I'm talking it takes like $3 out of 50, which is nothing. And all the rest of that money, I don't keep any of it. The rest of it all goes into the prize pool. So if you have the means to support the tour, please consider doing so, and I would super duper appreciate it. Back to the matter at hand. Fruhdazi is down a game, needs 2 in a row against Garay, or he is out of here. Switching those sides for continuity, Garay Oak, not to be confused with Gary from the anime, is on the bottom. Shitrock Enjoyer, still Fruhdazi, on the top. Feel like we have seen an unusually large amount of lead Skarmory in this tournament. Not that it's like a new thing. People have led Skarm for years, but I feel like in this tour there's been quite a bit of it. It's been pretty common, I would say. Don't know if that's a flavor of the month thing or if people are just getting greedy and really want to get those spikes down or what. But I also feel like those lead Skarms have not worked out very often because I feel like a huge portion of the time they're just against Zapdos and you have to get out of the way and you give up the tempo immediately. We had one of those Zapdos against Skarm leads in the previous match that I just narrated, and here we are. There is another one in this match in which, Skarm did eventually get the spike down, but Zapdos obviously not the matchup that you want to encounter when you choose to lead with Skarm. So, as to not get too far behind, this looks like a pretty stereotypical Fruhdazi team here. Usually has things like Aerodactyl or Gilligros in the back. Big fans of those Mons. And just looks like a TSS for Garay. Psychic blanking on the T-Tar here. And out of the way he goes without getting pursued. Zapdos reappears, again staring down Skarmory here. See if he's willing to eat a Thunderbolt in exchange for the spike. And he says that it's worth it. He takes a huge chunk at 86%, but he thinks the spike is that damn valuable that it's worth it anyway, so down it goes. And he's actually going to let the Skarm go, so he is going to trade the Skarm's life for that one layer of spikes. Fair enough. Well, that is the Mons lead for Garay, who is already up a game. 1 layer each of spikes. Neither one has shown a spinner. Focus Punch comes down. Critical hit opportunity here. Doesn't get it, but still, 45. Pretty hefty for Swampert. It finds itself at half health before it gets to do a damn thing. Hey, if you don't crit it then, you could always just crit it on the following turn. And indeed, Earthquake crit takes out Swampert, and just like that, this game just got a lot closer. Zapdos comes in. Bold play there. Imagine if Garay had clicked Rock Slide, but he went for the EQ, and it's going to be blanked by the Zapdos. Wow, and another crit. Not clear if that was fighting or grass. 88%, I don't know. If it were grass, that would have been a very good damage roll to do base 44. I wonder... I think that actually might have been HP fighting. Fair enough, but yeah, Fruhdazi getting the RNG that he needs in this game, and certainly putting himself in a position with that luck to where looking like we're probably going to a game 3. Not going to count out Garay here. Maybe Gengar can do Gengar things. Certainly with the help of a freeze. Well, got to start somewhere. Zapdos goes down to an Ice Punch. And now Celebi reappears. That would definitely die to a crit Ice Punch here. So, see what Garay can get done. I'm not going to count Garay out just yet. Back to Skarm. And the obvious Psychic comes down. I believe Skarm isn't going to get to do anything here. I think it'll simply be outsped and killed by HP Fire. Jolteon comes in, trying to come in on HP Fire. And indeed, takes about 30% from the neutral hidden power. I guess hopefully it has Ice here for Garay's sake. It does, but pretty underwhelming at 34%. And the Psychic, with the help of the Sand, is actually going to kill him there. So, man, underwhelming Jolteon there. However, it does soften it up to where Gengar can easily clean it up. Question is, can Gengar get through all the rest? And that might be easier said than done. T-Tar at 100 is kind of a problem. You're going to need Hypnosis or HP Grass crit or something to that effect. Will-O-Wisp kind of helps, but don't know that it actually wins the one-on-one. Maybe if Rock Slide misses there. Giga Drain certainly, rather than HP Grass, would be helpful here because the health getting back actually matters, but doesn't seem to have that either. Relying on T-Bolt here. I don't know that he's got the right set to get out of this. T-Bolt again. And Rock Slide, with the help of the Sand, will seal it. So any hopes of a Gengar sweep, it would have to get through T-Tar plus 2 other pokes. As it turns out, it can't even get through T-Tar. And with that, it is only the Skarmory remaining. Drill Peck to break up Focus Punch, sure, why not? But what world? What could the last 2 pokes possibly ever be for Fruhdazi to where the Skarmory can ever win on its own from this position? For lack of a better term, I want to say that that is impossible. Salamence here with Flamethrower could do it. I guess if it missed Fire Blast, got hit with Toxic, and then got very unlucky with Protects, double Protects, more Fire Blast misses. Basically, it got unlucky like 5 turns in a row. I guess maybe you could kill it then. But then there would still be a last poke. So like I said, basically impossible to win for Garay from that position. Goes through the motions because he doesn't want to concede. Fine and well. And for style points, he actually opts for Hydro Pump there, even though he very likely had a fire attack. But that obviously means that his last poke was something that was going to beat the Skarm anyway. He was so unconcerned about the possibility of missing Hydro Pump that he couldn't even be bothered to click Flamethrower or Fire Blast there. So with that, and with the help of certainly some luck, Fruhdazi is going to send us to a third game in which either he or Garay will be eliminated with a 2-2 record, which is fine and well, but nevertheless eliminated from CI7. Who is it going to be? Here is the third game. I just want to remind you guys real quick about donations. I'm just kidding. I know I already did. Alrighty. Oh yeah, I can remind you real quick. Like and subscribe. My subs have actually grown quite a bit throughout this tour, which I appreciate. Maybe one day I'll have like 1,000 on my big YouTube channel. Don't ask. Here's game 3. Garay and Fruhdazi here. Keeping them in the same positions for continuity. Garay, for the last time, is on the bottom. Fruhdazi leading a Heracross. That's a little funky. Is on the top. And this, among many other things that could happen, is textbook why you don't lead Heracross. It's also why, if you're gonna lead Heracross into Zapdos, you don't click Rock Slide, because yeah, exactly what happened. Fruhdazi's going to get bailed out by another freeze, but Heracross does not lead matchup well into much of anything. It's not good against Zapdos. It's not good against Salamence. It's not good against Skarm. It's like okay against Metagross. It's really only T-Tar that you're scaring off, but not a lead Hera fan whatsoever. Man, deja vu from game 1. We're going to get into a CM pissing contest on the one with the Coon, and it is a role reversal in this case. It is Garay with the Celebi and Fruhdazi with the Coon. But yeah, it's got Ice Beam, and the Celebi is Giga Drain. Man, this reminds me of game 1. But Celebi eats it here. Dugtrio going to come in for the revenge kill. So we are going to have ourselves pretty quickly, this one's moving fast, a 5-4 with Garay in the lead. Keeping in mind that his Zapdos is frozen though. Vaporeon in the back. Was not anticipating that. And here comes Acid Armor. Is this the ex-Tina team that she was spamming in Mushi League? She narrated a set for this tournament in the first round, Bad Dummy and Dice. And I think she did a good job, so I certainly recommend you go back and check out that narration if you've not done so already. Raikou gonna CM up, and it's got acid armor, but doesn't it... Okay, Toxic works too, but I was gonna say, doesn't it just get roared away a lot here? Thunderbolt is huge, no doubt about that. And Hydro Pump helps soften it up for the Toxic, but Raikou will get another attack off here, and it's going to be on Garay to figure out who eats it. And Frozen Zapdos seems like as good a candidate as anybody. Hidden Power there, not very effective but critical. Would have killed with the sand, but we are playing a sandless game. And that was a good Hidden Power there. Little greedy for Garay. I think you're supposed to keep the Zapdos in and just call it a trade, but little greedy. He thought that he was going to switch it up to T-Bolt, and he was confident enough in his read to risk the Dugtrio, but he was incorrect, and he's going to lose it. And that leaves us in a 3-4, but again, Zapdos low and frozen, and now Suicune down, so Fruhdazi basically with the lead. Can he handle the Charizard? Subs up anticipating a switch, presumably to Vaporeon, and Boom there is going to pop the sub. Fair enough, I don't mind that Boom. 3-2, basically 2-2. Substitute. And DD, sure. Fruhdazi clearly favored in this situation. Substitute again. But he's still, even in Blaze range, would need a critical hit if he's going to be relying on a fire attack. He could also have HP Ice, but I think he would have clicked that by now. Alright, there you go. You sub down. There's your Pataya. In Blaze range. What do you got? Big Boy Fire Blast. Wow. And he finds the crit. You gotta feel bad for Fruhdazi there. You gotta feel bad for Fruhdazi there. And he misses the Hydro Pump. Holy hell. Wow. That was a tough ending. I think that Fruhdazi got robbed. I mean, the Mence was so boosted that it was going to beat anything last, pretty much. And Gary says in the battle chat that it was Rachi, which I think is just going to die to a +2 EQ, which we never saw, but he presumably had. That was bad. That was bad. That Fire Blast crit ended up deciding the game and the match. It would do a Fuckton without a crit, don't get me wrong, but Fuckton doesn't matter. If Salamence had lived at just 1 HP in this case, that's all that it would need. There's no sand, and it would just proceed to clean it up. Without speed and kill the low frozen Zapdos, it wouldn't even have the chance to miss Rock Slide. You just click HP Flying. And then Gary says that the last is Jirachi, which, assuming he's telling the truth, and why wouldn't he? That would be killed by the +2 EQ from the Mence, and that would be that. So I believe Gary manages to rob him here. Now, do we even get to this Game 3 if Fruhdazi doesn't get lucky in Game 2? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Certainly it would have been different. Is it a guaranteed Gary victory without the luck? I don't know, but I certainly think he was ahead, and I certainly think that it could have just ended 2-0 Gary without the nonsense in Game 2. That being said, does not change the fact that Fruhdazi really got the bone in this one. There was a 1-turn window for Gary to find a crit, otherwise he was out of the tournament, and he found the damn crit. And with that, our hero, young Fruhdazi, out of the tour. Certainly in ugly fashion, but that is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. One game can never eliminate you from the tour. That's the way it's structured. You have to not only lose twice, but you have to lose 2 best-of-3s. So you've got to lose at least 4 games, and not just the one, to be out of here. And indeed, that is what occurred here. So good on Gary. A lot of you guys predicted him in the survey to go 0-2. He was very commonly listed among the 4 guys that you think might go 0-2. But here he is, far from 0-2, with a 3-1 record, and maybe it'll even get better. Fruhdazi going to be out in his CI debut with a respectable 2-2 record, likely short of what he wanted since he has high expectations for himself, but 2-2 is a fine record. Keep your head up. Don't worry about it. And I guess that's it. There are no more matches scheduled for today. The remaining 3 for the round, none of which are mine to narrate, are all tomorrow, Sunday. So you can catch those live by joining my Discord server and asking for the matches roll, or if you want to wait for them, as soon as I get them from other people, I'll get them on YouTube. Either way, appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.